I want to, I'm going to spend just a couple minutes tonight filling you in on some things that are happening in the world. But I want you to pay attention to this verse number 5 that we read tonight. If a fire breaks out and catch in thorns, so that the shocks of corn, so that the corn in the field are consumed, the person that kindled the fire shall surely make restitution. There is a fire raging. And there's a fire raging of anti-Semitism. We've seen it from the right. We all watched Charlottesville. We all watched the rise of the radical right march in streets yelling, "Jews will not replace us." Blood and soil, the calls of the Nazi Germany. And that's scary enough, the white supremacists. But I want to say there's something happening on the left. And even in the LGBT community and here in West Hollywood, there is a rise of anti-Semitism in the progressive world. And it doesn't matter your own personal politics. As a Jewish community, I think we have a responsibility to speak up, whether it's the right or the left. So I want to call out and let you know about what's been going on and what I've been doing the last couple weeks. It's been pretty disheartening, actually, and we're going to need your help over the next number of months. So it wasn't bad enough, but in December, the city of West Hollywood was going to show a pretty anti-Semitic movie called 1948, Catastrophe, Nachba in Arabic, or Creation. And this film is made by BDS activists and those that want to erase Israel from the map. And it came to my attention, didn't even know the city was going to show it in one of their city film series. And I asked the city council to delay it and to stop it. Because it's not just about protesting Israel's policies, which you can do. As if you don't agree with the government of Israel. Many of us don't agree with what's happening in the United States on certain policy issues, and you protest. That's part of being an American, free speech, right? But there's a place where free speech crosses into hate speech. That's a stickier point in America. In other countries, they've actually made rulings about it. In Canada, you can be prosecuted for hate speech. So the question is, where's the line between free speech and hate speech? And this film, I contend, isn't just about free speech, it's about hate speech. Because the film is actually about erasing Israel, destroying Israel, and trying to say that, and it goes to the very core of that Jews, not just Israelis, that Jews are at the root and cause of the evils of the world and all of the evils of the Palestinians and the problem. So this is a problem. They've delayed the showing of it, and we are starting to form here in West Hollywood to combat this film and to combat this notion that's growing and dividing the progressive movements about what is anti-Semitism, what is anti-Zionism. And I contend anti-Zionism is a form of anti-Semitism. Because Zionism is simply this, that the Jewish people, who for more than 2,000 years did not have their own home and land, that were destroyed by the Romans, longed in our liturgy, longed in our prayers, longed in our Passover Seders. We said next year in Jerusalem. It's not something that's new. This has been part of our history for thousands of years. And that we as Jews had the opportunity, and we as Jews longed for the determination to be a free people in our land. In 1947, on November 29th, the United Nations voted to partition what was the British Mandate into a Jewish land and into an Arab land. The Jews said yes, even though the land that was historically part of ancient Israel would not be included in this. We would be on the coast near Tel Aviv. Jerusalem would not be part of the deal. Next year in Tel Aviv? No, next year in Jerusalem. But the Jewish people agreed to say, for the sake of peace, we'll accept a deal that isn't what we've actually wanted all this time. And when Israel's statehood was declared that following May 1948, the Arabs rejected it. And they attacked Israel. And that became the War of Independence. And since then, it has been basically 1 war, 2 wars, 3 wars, 4 wars, and more, a constant state, frankly, with very little peace. So being anti-Zionist, even though you might have read an article in the New York Times, is indeed anti-Jewish. Michelle Goldberg got it wrong. And then this last weekend at the National Gay and Lesbian Task Force large gathering, Creating Change, which is a convention of about 5,000 grassroots activists, was yet again another time for not just anti-Zionist, but anti-Semitic language to come up. And a group calling for getting rid of Israel and erasing Israel stormed the stage. They have this tradition in the task force, so I want to give that's part of their culture, the task force, where different groups can come up and protest. But this is the difference. It wasn't just protesting for gay rights, which is a good thing. It was an attack on Jewish people and on Israel. And this is, to me, again, the difference between free speech and hate speech. They did nothing to stop it, and for 15 minutes, it went on and on. Now, from my perspective, if a group had gotten up and said something about the Latino community, send everybody back to their family's country of origin, I can bet that the task force would have stopped that. Why is it okay? Why is it okay to stand up and protest and be anti-Semitic? I think this has got to stop. And if we want to work on real peace issues between Palestinians and Israelis, let's do that. And let's work to create opportunities for coexistence and support organizations that are doing the real dialogue on the ground. But let's not let left politics and right politics try and use Israel as a wedge issue. And so it calls upon us, as I think the Jewish community here, to speak up. It's not just an LGBT issue. This is happening in the progressive world overall. And the subtle and not so subtle anti-Semitisms that come our way. It's time for us to speak up. I hope you will. I hope you will challenge it where you see it. And I hope you'll join together with us at Kol Ami every step of the way to speak up and talk about our pride in our heritage and our pride in being Jewish, and to really work for the day when all the different parts of ourselves can be unified into one wholeness, shlemut, completeness. That's the only way to take this fire that we're talking about here. Take the fire and to put it out. Shabbat shalom. Good Shabbos, everyone. I'd like for Andrew